Bitcoin just hit $64,000, and after years of the Fed raising interest rates, this past week decided to pivot and we finally saw the first cut. And with all this, I'm betting is setting the stage for new all-time highs by the end of this year. We've had months of market chop, but I'm betting now is the time to start paying attention to crypto again. No more touching grass, and it's time to lock in. At the beginning of 2024, I shared how I was going to make $100,000 through crypto airdrops, and we might just hit that goal. The next airdrop I'm betting big on is going to be Sonic, and I believe it's heavily underfarmed, which means that there's a huge opportunity for us to get a big allocation. And with the Sonic airdrop, I'm going to take you through everything that you need to know step by step and make sure that you have all the latest information and tips so that way you can complete the airdrop campaign and be sure to qualify. If you aren't familiar with Sonic, it's the same team behind the Fantom Layer 1 blockchain, but they've gone ahead and revamped their entire technology stack and are now rebranding to a new ecosystem. I'm going to share an entire deep dive about why I've added Fantom to my own portfolio, but for now, I just want to share a little bit of context about what the team is doing, where they're going, and why this airdrop is worth farming. We've seen a ton of new Layer 1s launch that have really outshined the Layer 1s of the last bull run, right? And that's because the technology in the space is just rapidly improving. So we have projects like Sui and Aptos. We also have projects that we are expecting to launch soon, like Monad and Mega ETH, and there's just a lot going on. So it really made sense for the Fantom Foundation to look at their technology stack and say, what does a blockchain need to do and need to look like for the future? What we're getting here with Sonic is a complete re-architecture of the blockchain, a high-performance EVM that puts it among the fastest of today. So 10,000 transactions per second, but I could even argue what is more importantly is the time to finality. So we're coming in at less than a second here. And of course, the transaction cost, fraction of a penny. There's also a lot of other things that Sonic Foundation is doing, like gas monetization, sharing 90% of the fees for devs. Right now, if you look at other Layer 1s and Layer 2s, they're making millions of dollars a year in fees and they're keeping it for the team's treasury. What Sonic wants to do is really encourage developers and builders to come to the ecosystem and reward them for the activities and the users that they bring with them. Another important point is the native account abstraction, right? It's wild that we think about the future of finance being secured by 24 words that we have to write on a piece of paper, right? That's insane and has been one of the biggest blockers of adoption. And so what native account abstraction will do, it will be much more familiar, like signing into your email or one of your social media accounts, and you won't have to worry about the seed phrase. And if you hold Fantom in your portfolio or you're interested in adding it, you'll be able to actually exchange it for a 1-to-1 ratio. So this is not an opportunity what you've seen in the past sometimes for like founding teams try to rebrand or launch new tokens and either kind of do this cash grab or dilute existing investors. That is not the case at all. It's going to be a migration of 1-to-1. If you think of Sonic in a traditional sense, it's a Layer 1 blockchain. But if you really start to actually dig deeper into the technology stack and architecture, it almost acts as a Layer 1.5. And that's because it's going to be able to help you access native assets on ecosystems like even Ethereum and go ahead and bring that together in a more unified solution. And the Sonic testnet is already live today, so if you're interested in trying to test the limits of this blockchain and see what is possible, you can actually go ahead and start using it immediately. Here you can see right now that the average block time is about 0.4 seconds. Right now, of course, it's only 21 transactions per second, not a lot of activity going on in the testnet, and it's keeping to that less than 1 second finality. But now let's get into the Sonic token, what's it used for, and everything you need to know for the Sonic airdrop. Sonic is the gas token of the blockchain, much similar to Sol for Solana or Ether for Ethereum, right? So you use it for things, of course, like paying for transactions, staking, running a validator, and participating in governance forums. We can see that the total supply at Genesis is going to be about 3.2 billion tokens, which includes, of course, Fantom, which will be converted at 1-to-1. The Sonic airdrop will represent 6% of the total supply, which is massive for a multi-billion-dollar protocol. And it's important to understand that these tokens will be minted 6 months after mainnet launches, and that these will be exclusively for incentivizing builders to come into the ecosystem or will be given away to users who incentivize activity. Sonic has clearly defined the criteria to qualify for this airdrop, and they've really broken it down into two camps. One is the Fantom Opera users. These are users who have been building on the ecosystem or supporting it for many years that it's been around, and so it only makes sense to reward those. And then if we scroll down here, there's also the Sonic users. So these, of course, are going to be new users that they're incentivizing on the new ecosystem and the new blockchain that they'll launch. And there's quite a few things that they call out explicitly. Of course, things such as simple as providing LP, people who were negatively impacted during the multi-chain bridge hack, as well as those who held liquid stake Fantom across a variety of projects, and other things like NFT holders, marketplace, things like that. And when we look at the new Sonic blockchain, we see a lot of the same thing. People who are providing LP, staking or validating Sonic, those who are staking their Sonic tokens. And what we're going to focus on today and really go step by step is this aspect here, which is audience activation campaigns and Quest participants. On the topic of Quest activation, Sonic has released here the Road to Sonic, which is an on-chain journey to interacting with different parts of the ecosystem. What this is a 6-week long program where at the end of each week for completing tasks, you actually get to collect a shard. And at the end of the 6 weeks, once you've collected all 6 shards, you can combine them to create an exclusive NFT. This program started 4 weeks ago, which means you have 2 weeks left to complete all 6 weeks. And the great news is that each of the campaigns will be available until the final week. So even if you've missed the first couple weeks, you can definitely go back and complete those. The Road to Sonic campaign is partnered with Galaxy to go ahead and carry out these tasks and activities. And if you come down here for Series 1, you can see all the tasks that are required in order to complete that week and then claim the NFT. And right now you can see that there's less than 10,000 wallets actively farming this, which is a huge win. Sometimes when I see these Galaxy campaigns, I see sometimes 80, 90, 100,000 wallets, which really leads me to believe that not a lot of people are paying attention to this. If you look at each week, there's various different tasks, and a lot of times they build on top of each other, meaning that what you accomplish in week 1 will have a second part in week 2 and so on. And I'm not going to go through each of these tasks because a lot of them are really self-explanatory. For example, follow Sonic Labs on Twitter. But there are a few that I'm going to touch on and just give you a few tips to make it a little bit easier when completing these different parts of the campaign. If we look at these quests, there's a few things we have to do. And the first one, for example, is we have to use the wormhole bridge, which is the portal bridge, and bridge 50 USDC from Ethereum to Fantom. Now, my tip for you would be to bridge at least $250. And that's not because you're going to spend $250, but you need it to interact with different parts of the quest and ecosystem, and it'll be able to accomplish the task much faster. In the end, you probably will spend about $5 of it. All you do is click the drop down. It gives you a link to the portal bridge. You go ahead and make sure that you're bridging from Ethereum to Fantom and USDC. Of course, make sure you have Fantom on the other side for a gas token. A lot of exchanges allow you with withdrawal directly, and some bridges give you a gas bonus as well. Next thing we have to do here is create an S for Kingdom Hero. And it seems like they forgot to put the link in the description, but here is their Twitter. So you can go ahead and see it. They have, of course, the link in bio, and you can go ahead and go to the game. Of course, it's a play to earn game. Once you enter the game, they have a whole tutorial for you though. It's quite simple though. You just connect your wallet, create a hero, and give it a name. The next one of these mentions you need to hold 100 staked Fantom, and this is the liquid staking token provided by Beethoven. So we can see here that Series 1 requires 100 stake Fantom, but if we scroll down, we can see here that Series 2 requires 150 and Series 3, 200. And so what would be best thing for us to do is that when we go to the Beethoven app, we go ahead and deposit enough funds that we can just do them all at the same time and have the 200 stake Fantom. Now, because it's stake Fantom, that means it's not one-to-one because it's receiving rewards. So if we go ahead and put one Fantom in here, you can see this only equals about 0.87 stake Fantom. So what we'll need to do is deposit about 230 Fantom. This will get you the 200 stake Fantom. And actually, once you complete all the quests, you can actually even sell this if you want to. So you can revert back to Fantom or revert back to something like USDC. The next tip that I want to give you is that in week 2, you need to trade perpetuals on links. It says place at least one trade using Fantom as collateral with a minimum trade size of a Fantom. So what you can do here is you can risk one Fantom, which is about 65 cents, and put up to 100x leverage. This will go ahead and allow you to fulfill the requirement. There's a good chance at 100x leverage, you're going to get liquidated, but you're only risking about 65 cents here. So when you come here to the protocol, what you'll want to do is you'll want to put your one Fantom as collateral. You'll crank the leverage to 100x, and you can go ahead and pick whatever asset that you want. Of course, you can always close the position if for whatever reason you are not instantly liquidated. Maybe if you choose something like Bitcoin, you'd be able to actually try to see what that might look like when you try to long or short something. Another tip, in that series 2, you actually have to join a clan for S for Kingdom. So you can either join an existing clan or create your own. And I actually found it was way easier to just create your own clan. And that's because to join an existing clan means that somebody has to actually approve you, which means now you have to either go to the Discord and ask for approval or something like that. So when you're on the front page of this game, you can click clans and go ahead and click create a new clan. And if you come down here, you just need to give it a name. You have the option to give it some socials, and it costs about 100 brush. And so what you can do is come back over here to Beethoven, and of that USDC you've bridged, you can go ahead and purchase 100 brush. I'd actually recommend purchasing about 103 brush. That's because later in the series of other quests, you actually have to do things like buy items and stuff like that. And so you need a few more brush available. And you can see this will only cost you about $2.80. Series 3, there's a few different things required. You have to lend 20 Fantom on a money market. So Polter Finance, it operates the same as Aave if you're familiar. Here we have Polter Finance's Twitter profile. Be sure double check all the links and all the Twitter profiles that you're interacting with when going through this campaign. But we can go ahead and pull up the market, and we can see all the different markets that they have available. So remember, we need to lend at least 20 Fantom. So we can click on this Fantom, deposit our 20 Fantom, and actually once we complete the quest, you can actually go ahead and withdraw it as well. The next thing that it talks about here is you need to trade 100 Fantom worth of volume on the Degen Express platform. So this is very similar to Pump if you're familiar with the meme coin casino over on the Solana ecosystem. What we can do is we can visit Degen's Express, of course, X profile. We can go to their link tree, and this will bring us to their homepage. And what we can look at is you can pick any token you want. You would open it up here. You can go ahead and buy $100 worth of Fantom. And then once you buy it, you can complete the task, and you're more than welcome to sell it afterwards. Again, this might cost you a couple dollars, but that's all it should be. When we get to week 4, which is the latest available week, it's quite simple. You just have to do a couple more tasks. For example, make a swap of $20 on Spooky Swap. You have to then buy an item for your hero in S for Kingdom. Remember, that's why we bought a few couple brush, so that we would have that money to spend on items. And of course, you're going to get ahead and add $100 worth of liquidity to a liquidity pool on Beethoven. And again, once you complete these tasks, you can remove that liquidity. And of course, you finish it off with doing a few more follows. That's everything you need to know for the Sonic airdrop. And if you run into any issues, be sure follow me on Twitter, just send me a message, or check the links below for the completely free community Discord. I'm always focusing on bringing you the latest airdrops, altcoin gems, and market updates. So be sure to subscribe, hit that like button, and see you in the next one.